Okay, welcome everyone today at the sustainability track. It's an honor to kick this off today. My name is Auke Annema. I work for BigMile, and today I want to tell you a little bit about the CSRD, what it is, and how you can prepare your logistics operation for the new legislation, about BigMile itself, and how to reduce CO2 and how we help our users with that. And I want to talk to you a little bit about NOx. In Dutch, that is stikstof, and for us, we think that's really the next big thing in footprinting for sustainability. So first, who am I? My name is Auke Annema, as you can see. I'm a business consultant for BigMile. Have been working for BigMile for 2 years, and my background is in the logistics sector. And I assist our customers and users with getting grip on their CO2 footprint and start reducing. So first, it's always good to answer or to look at the question, why are we putting so much effort in measuring our CO2 emissions, and why are we trying to reduce it so hard? Well, this is not just a barcode, but this really shows the annual temperatures on average on the world. It's in color-coded, so you see the last few years we're really doing a lot worse than we were. And this really shows the urgency of why we are talking about this and why we are also having this track today. So to continue, let's see. Next. Okay, that's a few ahead. Yeah. So what is the CSRD? CSRD is short for the Corporate Sustainability Reporting Directive. And this is a legislation that has been put in place by the EU to activate the member states to make sure companies will report their impact on the environment and climate. Part of this is to measure your CO2 footprint and to control the set goals by the EU, but also by your own strategy. The biggest goal of the EU to have this legislation in place, of course, is to reduce the emission. In the EU, but also a big part of this legislation is to create more transparency and to be able to quantify the quality of information that is provided by companies, because there is a lot of greenwashing around at the moment. So it's also a way to get rid of the greenwashing and to really compare apples to apples if you talk about emission. For whom is this CSRD in place, and is it mandatory to report on? Well, if you tick 2 of the 3 boxes behind me here, then you will be obliged to report on the non-financial part and also the CO2 footprint. So that's if you have more than 250 full-time employees, 40 million euros of revenue and or 20 million euros in assets within your company. How does it affect your organization? And what do you need to do basically? You have to each year you have to do your financial reporting for the government. This becomes part of it, so you need to put a non-financial report, and part of that is to report on your CO2 emissions that the company has emitted. A big part of this is the emission that has originated in your supply chain activities. So that's really your scope 3 emissions. I think most of you will be familiar with the scopes. But the scope 1 is really your direct emissions, so from, for instance, your own production facility. Scope 2 is from the energy that you buy or the gas that you buy from energy companies. And scope 3 is basically all other indirect emissions. Like I said, the supply chain activities are usually the largest part of the scope 3 emission. It will be mandatory for the companies that tick 2 of the 3 boxes on the previous slide to report on this from tax year 2024 and onwards. So the first time this has to be published is in the beginning of 2025. Reporting needs to be done in a certified and accountable way, because like your financial reports, accountants will will check what you are reporting, and we'll audit on this topic as well. How can we help you at BigMile with this topic? So at BigMile, we offer a certified and accountable CO2 calculation tool. We are really able to visualize your whole carbon footprint emitted by your supply chain, and we can also see how your supply chain performance is doing. At the moment, we're also the standard tool that Lean and Green participants use to measure their CO2 footprint and also start reducing, of course. We're really in compliance with the laws and legislations that are in place at the moment, and we're really on track to be compliant with also the legislations in the short future. And a good thing about BigMile is we can also really allocate your emission in a certified way to see which customer is responsible for which part of the emission in your supply chain. So you can really see where can I make the most impact within my supply chain to reduce as effectively as possible. How does it look? So this is our current carbon analytics app. This is just a summary. We have a really large interactive application in which our users can really get insights in their CO2 footprint. For instance, here you can see your whole supply chain worth in CO2. So on the right, you see your KPIs, the total CO2, the CO2 per ton of cargo, which modalities to use, and this is just a start. Because it's nice to have your reporting in place when it's necessary, but the next step, of course, is to reduce. So that's also possible with BigMile. With BigMile, we can, for instance, say if we have an import shipment from Greece to the Netherlands here, we can do a what-if scenario, and we can say, okay, what if we don't do the whole shipment by road, just by truck, which of course is the fast option. What if we do it with an intermodal solution, like the below example? Of course, it needs to be applicable for the product if the lead time can be a little bit longer. But in a lot of cases, that is the case. So in this case, if you optimize this lane within your supply chain, you'll be able to reduce 70% of CO2. And usually when you make your supply chain more sustainable, it will also be more profitable. Let's see, one more example. So we have one more example here. So for instance, if you are curious about how to organize your network for your deliveries in the Netherlands, you can really see, okay, what if I have one central hub to make all my deliveries in the country, or what if I have regional hubs like in the second picture? And you can really see what the average CO2 will be per parcel that you deliver, for instance, and you can make a 40% CO2 reduction in this case. Depends really on your business. This could also be the other way around, of course, but again, you can make those scenarios in BigMile. My last slide I want to tell you about is NOx. Like I said, stikstof in Dutch. It's really a loaded topic right now in the Netherlands, as we all know. A lot of construction companies specifically are really struggling by getting permits for their construction projects. And also the law enforcement, the people that need to approve the permits the construction companies have. They also struggle by controlling the NOx emissions and by approving the permits. So we are really aiming to create a solution also for this, to not only help the users we have now to not only see their CO2 footprint, but also their NOx footprint. We want to help other parties in the future to analyze on their NOx footprint. And I can get really technical on this topic, and I invite you to ask me about it later at our stand. But to calculate and to allocate NOx is way more difficult and complex than CO2, because CO2 and fuel, they go pretty linear. So if you have a liter of diesel that you use, there is maybe 3 kilos of CO2 emitted. By NOx, it also matters how that liter of diesel has been used. So what was the engine temperature? Where was the truck driving? Because for NOx, it matters where the NOx was disposed. So yeah, I think that's my time for now. I have a sheet for questions, but I think it's best to find us at our stand. And yeah, my colleagues and me will be happy to answer all your questions about these topics. Thank you very much, and we go to the next one.